March 27, 1999. The skies above Serbia were cloaked in darkness. NATO's air superiority was unquestioned, an overwhelming force of stealth aircraft and high-tech weaponry patrolling a war zone where resistance seemed futile. And yet, on this night, in a sleepy village near the city of Belgrade, something extraordinary happened. For the first time in history, a stealth aircraft, a symbol of untouchable American air power, was brought down by a 1960s-era Soviet missile system. The plane was the F-117 Nighthawk. The pilot was LT Col. Dale Zelko, and the man who brought it down was Colonel Zoltán Dani, commander of a forgotten, under-equipped Yugoslav air defense unit. This is the story of how a Nighthawk was shot down. The F-117 Nighthawk was the pride of the U.S. Air Force, nicknamed the Black Jet. Despite its fighter designation, it was a precision strike aircraft, invisible to most radar systems. Designed for surgical airstrikes and deep penetration missions, it first emerged from the shadows during the Gulf War in 1991, delivering lethal blows with near impunity. Its faceted, angular body, more science fiction than aviation, reflected radar waves in every direction but back to the source. In theory, it couldn't be tracked. In practice, it had never been touched. But the Yugoslavs were watching. Colonel Zoltán Dani, a pragmatic and cunning officer in the Yugoslav People's Army, understood the limitations of stealth. No plane, he believed, was truly invisible. The radar cross-section might be tiny but not non-existent. With careful timing, discipline, and a bit of luck, even a dinosaur of a missile system like the S-117 Neva could find its mark. The S-125 was ancient by 1999 standards, practically a museum piece. Its radar was too primitive to lock onto stealth aircraft under normal conditions. But Dani and his team developed an unorthodox approach. They operated their radar in short, unpredictable bursts, often for just 20 seconds, long enough to gather data, not long enough to be targeted by anti-radiation missiles. They relied on intelligence, pattern analysis, and visual spotters. And they were patient. For days, they moved their launchers constantly, hiding among hills, trees, and even barns, keeping NATO guessing. On that fateful night, LT Col. Dale Zelko took off from Aviano Air Base in Italy. His mission, a strike on targets in the Belgrade area. He flew with confidence. After all, no F-117 had ever been hit. He entered Serbian airspace alone, under cover of darkness, unaware that below him, Dani's team was listening, watching, waiting. Radar operators picked up a faint blip, just a whisper in the static. Dani made the call. Fire. 2 missiles soared into the night sky. The first missed. The second didn't. At 8:15 p.m. local time, a fireball lit up the blackness over Buanovci. The impossible had happened. A stealth aircraft had been destroyed. Zelko ejected. As he parachuted into the darkness, he tucked his arms and legs in tight, bracing for impact. He landed hard in a muddy field, disoriented and alone. For hours, he hid in a drainage ditch, soaked, cold, and unsure of whether he'd be captured or killed. But thanks to a daring combat search and rescue mission, he was extracted the next day and lived to tell the tale. The wreckage of the F-117 was paraded through Belgrade like a war trophy. Parts of it ended up in museums, and allegedly, some made their way to China and Russia for analysis. For the US, it was a sobering moment. The myth of invulnerability was broken. For Colonel Dani, it was vindication. He had proven that tactics, training, and innovation could overcome even the most advanced technology. He later retired, opened a bakery, and quietly slipped into civilian life. Years later, in an extraordinary twist of fate, Dani and Zelko met in person. 2 former enemies, once on opposite ends of a missile's path, shared coffee and conversation. There was no anger, just mutual respect for skill, for duty, for survival. The downing of the Nighthawk didn't change the outcome of the Kosovo War, but it reshaped the way militaries thought about stealth, air defense, and the delicate balance between technology and tactics. It reminded the world that even the most advanced machines can fall sometimes to the most unlikely hands. War is often measured in numbers, sorties flown, bombs dropped, territories gained. But it's in moments like this, raw, improbable, human, that history takes a breath. The night the sky betrayed the shadows, and a Nighthawk fell.